If you're looking to match an existing MP Concepts upper grille on your 18 and newer Mustang, or you're just looking to switch up the look of the factory lower, then you might want to check out the MP Concepts lower grille option that we're talking about here today. So the big appeal for this lower grille, I feel, is going to be for those 18 and newer owners out there who may have already grabbed that MP Concepts upper grille, or at least plan on grabbing them both at the same time to knock both out at once. And while I will say the upper grille by itself is doable on these cars, it really does make more of a visual impact when both upper and lower have been installed, and will ultimately make for a more consistent look overall. Now, just like the matching upper grille from MP Concepts, which by the way is also available here on the site, the lower is also going to be made from that same injection molded ABS plastic for right around that $150 price point, and does include that mesh design here for the center portion, along with the open areas here towards the end. So if you're an EcoBoost owner out there, or even a blown or boosted GT owner, this is great news, right? Because you're gonna be dramatically opening up the airflow to either your intercooler or even your heat exchanger with this guy in place, especially when compared to the rather closed off factory lower grille. Now, this grille has been designed with the help of OEM Ford CAD data, so therefore the fitment should be very similar to that of a factory part, which is going to be beneficial to you guys out there when it does come time to tackle the installation. Speaking of which, guys, again, the front bumper cover does have to come off in order to get this guy in place, so therefore the site is going to nudge this one up to a soft 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter and an hour or 2 to get everything knocked out. But as promised, here is that detailed walkthrough along with a quick tool breakdown.
Tools used for this install: lug socket, 1/4" drive, sockets ranging from 5.5 millimeters up to 8, extension, 10 millimeter wrench, push pin removal tool, flathead screwdriver, plastic trim panel removal tool, 3/8 impact is optional, as well as this air impact. All right guys, to start off, we're gonna be removing these 8 push pins holding this radiator cover on. You can use a flathead, just be careful. All right, once all those push pins are removed, you can remove this cover. All right guys, now these are 8 millimeter little body screws holding the front bumper lip on. I'm gonna remove these. Oh, they're kind of long. And now there are 2 5.5 millimeter bolts on the very edge of the corners on the upper bumper. All right, now our next step is to get the vehicle in the air and get our wheels off. You don't have to do this at home. We just need to gain access inside here to our inner fenders. And to show you, it's a little easier to take these tires off. So I'm gonna do that now. All right guys, now that I got my wheel and tire off, you can see a little bit better. This is our inner fender of our passenger side. We're gonna be removing these push pins. There's 1, 2, 3, we're missing one here, so that'd be 4, 5, 6 that we have to pull off. And it's the same process, just pop the top. If you don't have a pair of push pin removal tools, just use a flathead. I'm just gonna get it off the lip of our fender here, just to gain a little extra space. All right, once you have your fender peeled back, we have to disconnect the fog light assembly here that has our turn signal. There's just a little connection there. Just press the tab and pull out. We're gonna do this on both sides, and then we're gonna get our nuts off the top of here, off the corner of our bumper. They are 10 mil. All right guys, now I have a ratcheting 10 millimeter wrench. I'm going to loosen up these nuts. I'm gonna do that on both sides and to get the vehicle even further in the air to show you what to remove on this guy. All right guys, underneath we're at our tray and we have to remove it using a 7mm socket. Now there are about 20 of these screws you have to remove. I'm gonna start at this corner, work all the way around. All right guys, now there are 2 push pins holding this tray in place. I'm gonna use my elbow here just to make sure it does not fall down. As you can see, it already wants to. Drop this push pin out of here too. All right guys, with those push pins removed, you can pull back on your little cover here and then put this to the side. All right, now once you have your under tray off, your top cover off, your lights disconnected, let's remove those last 2 nuts, 1 on each side. All right, what we're gonna do next is peel the corner off the fender here. And what you're gonna do is just pull straight down. There is a Christmas tree type clip that will help secure that bumper in there as well as those 2 studs. That's why I wanted to leave my nut on there so it doesn't drop out. If you're constantly taking these bumpers on and off, this Christmas tree clip will get a little worn out and may not stick as it did from factory. All right, gonna pull this one out as well. So now the bumper's basically hanging off the front here. What we gotta do now is peel these tabs off of the stud. So we're gonna do that now. Very carefully, I'm gonna keep my hand over here just to support that side of the bumper because this is all it's holding this bumper on right now. Now once you have your last one, just lift on it and pull straight back and then bring your bumper to a clean working area. All right guys, this is what the back side of your bumper looks like. If you're doing any maintenance to your fog lights or your turn signals, now would be a great time to do it while the bumper's off. But what we gotta do first is take off this plastic reinforcement bar. It's only on there by, I guess, 6 tabs. And what I have here is a plastic trim removal tool, which is great because it's not gonna mar the paint like it looks like someone used a flathead screwdriver on here before. This is gonna save your paint. So what we do here is we actually lift. For the bottom ones, we push up, and the top ones, we push down. And what that's gonna do is release those clips and make it just fall out. All right, once we have that plastic reinforcement bar out of the way, we can work on getting our lower grill out. It's the same process. We gotta push down on the bottom tabs. I'm gonna start on the corners. Whatever I gain, I can keep by keeping my finger behind there and keeping the tension on it. So just release that clip, that one, and just work your way down and keep pressure on this side so you, again, those clips don't go back in and you don't backtrack. Sometimes you can get it with your finger, whatever you need to do to get it. All right, now once we have the old grill out, you can either throw this away or put it on some internet site and try to gain some money back. All right, so now that we have our stock grill out, we have our MP Concepts ready to go in. It's just gonna go in the same way the stock one came out. What I'm doing here is just making sure it is centered. And what we can do, you may have to support the bumper and gain a little distance because now that you have the stock grill out of the way, this closed up a little bit on us. As you can see, I can gain a little distance just by lifting up on that. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Make sure all my tabs are lined up and then tighten it down. If you get a couple of these tabs through, click them in, but make sure that they are going into place. You don't want those tabs to get on top of the grill or on the bottom of the grill and bend backwards. All right, now's a good time to go all the way around your grill and make sure that the tabs are connected. Looks like we have a couple up here that need to be pushed in. Now the best way to do this, I found, is to get a hand behind and a hand in front and just push. All right, now once your lower grille is in, let's get our reinforcement back into place. This little tab is the longer one. That's gonna go on the top. Now we're ready to show off our new grille and get our bumper on our Mustang. All right, let's bring our bumper back in and on our Mustang. Just watch your corners with those studs. We're gonna be putting the bumper on these tabs up here first. Just make sure all these are in place. All right, now going onto the corner, we're gonna peel back our splash guard again. We're gonna make sure that our bumper is above these tabs on our headlight. Then we're going to line up our Christmas tree clip and our studs in the corner of the bumper here. All right guys, now we're back on top. I'm gonna put a couple bolts in the top. These are the 8mm ones. I have my impact set at the lowest setting because this is plastic. So I don't want to strip anything out or crack our bumper. I'm gonna switch back to my 5.5mm socket and get the 2 little bolts on the side here. All right, now we're back in the corner of our bumpers. We're gonna put the other nut on and tighten up what we got over here. All right, before we put our under tray back on, we're gonna connect our fog light and turn signal assemblies. Now we're gonna take our under tray. We're gonna make sure that this is up and out of our way. And we are going to carefully sandwich the front lip right here into the front splitter. I'm using every body part I have, my head, my other hand. I'm just getting that into place. Now in my other hand I have these push pins that we removed last. So we're gonna put those in first, just to set this tray where it needs to be. Now we can get all of our screws back in. All right guys, I just have a few more left here. Remember, there's about 20 of these. And that does not include your 2 push pins here. So make sure you get all of your screws back in. And then we can work on our inner fenders and our splash shields. All right, now let's get our push pins back in our inner fender splash shield here. I'm gonna start on the side, just to get my splash guard into position. All right, do that on both sides. Then we're gonna get our wheel on, get the vehicle on the ground, and then get our cover for our radiator back on. All right, our last step is to bring our radiator cover back in and get our push pins back into place. Again, there are 8 of these, 4 on each side. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up my install of this MP Concepts lower grille. For all things Mustang, keep it here at AmericanMuscle.com.